Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the first episode of a new series I'm calling Oh God, The Absurdity, where I just look at news events or anything in the public interest that I think really needs to be talked about. So I'm going to just jump in with the first story and let's do some critiquing of, society at this point. The FBI gains access to popular home DNA kit database. Who would have ever thought such an Orwellian prediction would come true? Does this actually surprise anyone? When 23andMe and Ancestry came out at first, I saw these things and I knew they were some kind of fucking obvious ploy. Like, oh yeah, just send me your DNA in the mail. Nothing wrong could ever go wrong there. What kind of fucking moron would look at these things and go, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. This isn't some sort of scam. This isn't some sort of plot by the government to get me to send them my DNA. No. This is what I need in my life. Home DNA testing kits are now affordable and commonplace and offer to provide you with detailed information on your family ancestry or a breakdown of your genetics. It also means there's a number of private companies who now hold large databases of genetic data, and the FBI has gained access to one of the most popular. Of course they have. As BuzzFeed reports, this week, Family Tree DNA confirmed that it is working with the FBI and allowing local law enforcement access to its genealogy database. The number of DNA profiles stored in that database is thought to be a total over 1 million. Over 1 million fucking saps who should learn how to think. Fucking idiots. There are a number of active cases that haven't been solved because there's DNA evidence, but no one to match it to. By opening up the genealogy database to the FBI, Family Tree DNA is potentially going to help solve a number of those crimes, in particular, historical murders and rapes. The FBI is already using publicly available DNA databases, but this is the first time it has gained access to a private database. It does, of course, raise some privacy concerns. No fucking shit. And a few Family Tree DNA customers may be contacting the company to ask what's going on, and possibly how to go about removing their data from the database. I'm sure they are. I'd probably be doing the same thing. Like, can you please not give my DNA to the government? I mean, they've done such great things in the past. I know I should trust them with my DNA, but maybe just, if there's one person you're not going to give it to, maybe it's just anyone in the government. That'd be great. Thank you. In its privacy statement, Family Tree DNA makes it clear that your personal information is never shared with third parties without additional consent. Obviously not. Your genetic information will never be shared with pharmaceutical or insurance companies, employers, or third-party marketers without your express consent. The terms of service got updated in December to state that law enforcement can make use of the database to identify a perpetrator of a violent crime. Sexual assault, rape, homicide, and the remains of a deceased all fall under that category. This is fine and dandy, and if you want to do this with your company, that's no problem. But the thing is, the people who sent their DNA to this website before that new stipulation was put in should not have their DNA accessible by the government. It just shouldn't work like that. These people should have been notified there's going to be a change of policy and they can remove their genetics from the database before this policy kicks in, and anyone who wants to, after that, continue their process, then that's fine, but the way they did this was fucking sleazy, and it's just terrible. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, what's the worst that could happen? It's like the Patriot Act, like, if you've done nothing wrong, you should have nothing to worry about. That's not the fucking point. I don't know what they're doing with the DNA. You don't know if they're making clones of you, and if they make clones of you, I know this sounds so fucking paranoid, but what if they are making clones of you? What if they're just making a version of you that doesn't question anything, and then one day that version is going to show up at your house, fucking murder you, and now you're just replaced by this clone? Your wife's just like, honey, is everything okay? You've been acting strange lately. Clone you says, yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, life is just now you as a clone. Enjoy. Next story. Charges dropped for deputies accused of forcing inmates into a fight club. Alright. San Francisco prosecutors say they had to dismiss charges because sheriff's department destroyed evidence in investigation. I had to edit this like 3 times because I've already read this article and it just makes you laugh because you'll see why. This is fucking hilarious, honestly. The San Francisco District Attorney's Office on Friday dropped all charges against 3 San Francisco sheriff's deputies accused of forcing inmates to fight for their entertainment. The San Francisco District Attorney, George Gaskin, filed charges against deputies Scott New, Eugene Jones, and Clifford Chiba in March 2016, a year after the city's public defender brought forth allegations of an inmate fight club. So these 3 were forcing inmates to fight, and obviously forcing them to fight is wrong. But, strong but here, now, I feel like under certain circumstances, this could be pretty badass. If this was consent-based and incentivized, like the winner gets time off their sentence, we could have a pretty interesting TV show here. Think about it for a second. No one would ever watch MMA again. Why would you ever watch insert 2 MMA fighter names here when you could watch an M13 member versus a Hell's Angel, or Skinhead Bob versus Tyrone, or Jared the Diddler versus Shemale Sarah? It's fucking perfect. This would be the greatest thing of all time, honestly. Okay, and here's where it gets good. Prosecutors claim they were forced to dismiss the charges this week because the same sheriff's department that employed the accused mishandled the investigation and destroyed evidence, including by smashing a lead investigator's laptop with a hammer because it had gotten a virus. Think about that for a second. Think about that. This is the funniest part of the whole fucking story. The laptop was smashed with a hammer because it had a virus. You gotta be fucking kidding me. That's the worst PC repair advice I ever heard. I'm gonna have to edit out these laughs. You think about them on the phone. Oh yeah. Just hit it with a hammer. That should solve the virus. Like, is that what psychiatrists in med school do? Yeah, just hit the bipolar schizophrenics over the head with a hammer while Cannibal Corpse's hammer-smashed face is playing in the background. Like, who do they think they're fucking fooling? What kind of fucking moron would read this and go, yeah, that's sensible, for sure. The case illustrates why agencies shouldn't be tasked with investigating themselves. Yes, and that's really what it all comes down to, is corruption and investigation tactics. I mean, how could you ever trust someone to say, yeah, we should definitely go to jail for our crimes or be fined or whatever. I mean, you got us. There's no way we're going to try to cover this up. You definitely got us. Like, who would do such a thing? I mean, a very upstanding and moral person would, but they probably wouldn't be in the situation in the first place if they were that kind of person. And why anyone in the government, anyone in law enforcement, anyone in prison systems, anyone who really has a untouchable power status should not be allowed to investigate themselves for corruption. Okay, I think moving forward we should probably make that a rule. Okay, does that sound good? I think so. Okay, moving on. Cop who shot fellow officer dead was drinking on duty, internal report alleges. Yes, okay. That's fucking great. In an international police misconduct report obtained by CBS St. Louis affiliate KMOV-TV, a police lieutenant alleges both Officer Nathaniel Hendren and his partner consumed alcoholic beverages while on duty the night Officer Caitlin Alex was shot and killed by Hendren during a game of Russian roulette. Kinda. It was kinda Russian roulette. We'll get to that. Lieutenant William Brown filed the complaint at 1:30 a.m. on January 24th, alleging conduct unbecoming an officer and suggesting both men also violated a regulation that says no employee shall report for duty or remain on duty with an alcohol concentration of 0.04 or greater. Moreover, no employee shall consume alcohol while on duty and or engage in city business. In a news conference Thursday, Police Chief John Hayden said the circumstances around the shooting were much more reckless and dangerous than I had originally understood. Hendren's partner's lawyer says his client had a few sips of beer at Hendren's home, but poured out the rest down the sink. Of course, yeah. Police say Alex Hendren and his partner met at Hendren's apartment while Hendren and his partner were on duty, and Alex was off duty. So apparently these two who were on duty were drunk, and the victim was not intoxicated. That's basically where we're at right now. And it's going to pick up a little bit here. Let's see what happened. The apartment is 3 miles outside the district to which Hendren and his partner were assigned. Hendren reportedly produced a revolver, emptied the cylinder, and then put one bullet cartridge back in the cylinder. Okay, we got a pretty good game of Russian roulette, really picking up here. Hendren then spun the cylinder, pointed the gun away, and pulled the trigger, but it didn't fire. Okay, I think we're missing the points of Russian roulette here. I don't think this news reporter understands Russian roulette. I don't think that's how it works. Alex then took the gun and pointed it at Hendren and pulled the trigger, but the gun again didn't fire. Okay, that's definitely not how you play Russian roulette. I don't think they understand. Hendren then took the gun back from Alex and pulled the trigger, shooting Alex in the chest, police say. She later died at a hospital. Okay, so we've established the fact that that's not what Russian roulette is. But anyways, the story's still interesting. The fact of the matter is that in the story it's saying that she was falsely shooting them too. Shooting but with the bullet not in the chamber. How do we know? We don't know what really happened, so they can say that to try to alleviate the punishment or the sentence a little bit. The fact of the matter is that these two drunken bastards could have brought her to their house and killed her and made it look like a Russian roulette game, whatever. And we don't know what really the motives are behind this crime. It could have been drunken fun, but I highly doubt it. They may have been dirty cops, and she had some evidence against them, and she was gonna do something about it. So maybe they fucking killed her. That's the first thing. Maybe call me cynical, call me a pessimist, but that's the first thing that ran through my mind when I read this story. I obviously don't know, but that's the first thing that ran through my mind. Moving on. Brooklyn pastor charged with sexually abusing his own daughter. For fuck's sake, I had to read this just because it's getting fucking old at this point. And I'll read a little bit here, but I really don't need to. You know the fucking story. A prominent New York pastor has been charged with sexually abusing his own daughter over the last 6 years. Alright, that's all I'm going to read. And the reason I chose this story is just to prove that this isn't only a problem in the Catholic Church. This is a problem in most mainstream religions. I'm sure Judaism suffers from this, and I know Islam has to suffer from this. When you have spiritual power over someone, even Buddhist philosophers or Buddhist spiritual leaders have been charged with sexual crimes. This whole spirituality thing and people thinking they need other people for their spirituality is fucking nonsense. And the fact is, when you hold this kind of power of I know the way, I know the light over someone, and that person just ends up diddling people, that's a fucking problem. And this is not okay. And especially in this case, when it's his daughter. Child molestation takes it up a fucking notch, obviously. But I'm talking about even things like you hear about Indian spiritual leaders coming to America and tricking stupid white people into sucking their dick because they'll show them how to meditate properly. Whatever, those people are fucking idiots. It's still not right, but it's not this. This is fucking morbid. This is fucking macabre, and this is fucking horrendous, and shit like this needs to stop. It's gotten to the point where either mainstream religion needs to be demolished, or if you join as the head of a church or something, you have to be castrated. Your cock has to be cut off. And your fingers too, I think. Just so you can't finger anybody. You still need your tongue to talk. Maybe we can figure out something like a Stephen Hawking's kind of voice box or something. Maybe you should just be a fucking stump without a tongue and a voice box if you're going to be a spiritual leader. It's gotten to that point. I can't take the risk of you diddling someone. Alright. Thanks for watching. Peace out. You guys have a good one. Please subscribe, like, and come back. I appreciate it. Peace.